Eklavya. Eklavya, man, here's the thing. Anybody else, I wouldn't talk about this until the very end of the episode, but you have one of those Instagram names that messes me up every time I see it. Why on earth is it Eklavya with thumbs?
Okay, that's a very interesting story, actually. The whole thing with Eklavya is actually was a character in Mahabharat, the grand epic Mahabharat, India, right? And the story goes is that he was someone from a tribe, and he wanted to learn archery. And as he wanted to learn archery from a guru, he went up to the guru and says, "Hey, teach me archery." But the guru only taught prince, kings, and people from upper caste. But he was from a lower caste. So he was like, "No, I can't teach you this." Now, Eklavya, feeling dejected, he just went into the forest. And one day, what happened is that the guru, along with all of his best students, like Arjun and other Pandavas and Kauravas, they were just roaming around in the forest. And as they were roaming around in the forest, one of the dogs that was barking all of a sudden shut up, and the dog comes back, and he has 7 arrows in his mouth in a way where the dog wasn't bleeding, and the dog was just like mum because the arrows just like that fit into his mouth. So the guru looks at the dog and he's like, "Who the hell could do this? Even my best student Arjun can't do this. Like, this is insane level of archery. Who did this?" And then he just goes to this path and he sees Eklavya practicing his archery on his own. And there is this statue of Guru Dronacharya, the guru that rejected him, right? Made out of clay. And
Yep.
he sees, he's like, "Did you do this?" He's like, "Yes, Guru." And then he comes up to him, he's like, he touches his feet, he's like, "Guru, you taught me all this." He's like, "I taught you all this?" And he's like, "Yes, look, you've always been here with me." He shows the statue that he made. He's like, "Okay, if I taught you this and I have given you this knowledge, then where is my Guru Dakshina?" Which is basically fees, like that you give to Guru. So he's like, "Whatever you need, Guru, tell me, what do you need?" And Guru is like, "Okay, give me your right thumb." Eklavya takes out his knife and he cuts his thumb and he just gives it to him. So the whole moral of the story was like that the way they teach it is that look how obedient he was. He just listened to his guru, how respectful he was. He just gave his thumb away. He didn't even think about it. But in reality, the reason why Guru asked for his thumb was he didn't want a lower caste Eklavya to be the best archer in the world. He wanted Arjun, who was a prince, to be the best archer. So Eklavya with thumbs, because I got my thumbs. I ain't giving my thumbs
Got
to
it.
nobody, dude. Nope.
I see the name and it's just like,
Yeah.
you know how when a new model of something comes out and it's like new and improved now with thumbs. Why didn't you have thumbs?
Thumbs.
Like that's what plays in my mind every time.
Yeah. Exactly, because it is new and improved version of Eklavya. Like, I'm still somebody who, aiming for something, right? Aiming for something. The name Eklavya means determination. Like, I'm aiming for something. I'm going somewhere. I am determined to reach there on my own. And at the same time, if a guru asks me, like, "Hey, give me your thumb," I'm like, "I'm not giving you my thumb. Sorry for that, dude. No way. That's happening.
Absolutely,
I'm
brother.
going to question
Without
it."
that. Stories of empowerment right off the back. That is not where I expected it to go, but I am appreciating where it went, man. So tell me just a little bit about yourself as a coach.
Definitely. So the it is very interesting because the way it started off, I'll give you a little background story because that's how I even became a coach. I didn't even think that I'm gonna be a coach. Never wanted to be a coach, but it just happened. Out of the blue, it just happened. So beginning the story when I was in India, growing up in Patna, which is very like I mean it's a town but it's not like a really huge town. A lot of people in a very small surface area, like a lot of people. The population is immense. But being born there, I was bullied a lot, and my family, they didn't really have like the best financial condition. And living like that, it was very difficult for me to make friends. I was completely anxious in front of everyone. My hands would start shaking. Like, I'll go up to the class and my voice would like just become like this. And that went on for a very long time. Like I wasn't really good at studies, and mostly because of the things that was going on in my house. I wasn't safe. I wasn't really feeling secure within myself. So that was representing in the way I presented myself in the world. So for 19 years of my life, I had no friends. Maybe one or two people that I talked to, but I wouldn't really call them friends. Friends. They weren't really the people that resonated with me that much. And eventually, when it became like really painful that I wanted to change something, so I went into pickup. Actually, I became a pickup artist, doing game, going out and picking up girls and all. So that kind of helped with my confidence, with my social anxiety. Like I became this maniac who will just go out and try to pick up girls as much as possible and fuel my confidence and self-worth from that, like how many women I was sleeping with. But eventually it reached to a point where I was still not fulfilled. I was like, what the fuck, dude? I've done all this. I am supposed to be feeling fulfilled right now. I'm supposed to be feeling better about myself. But why am I, anytime I'm alone, I feel like shit. I feel like I need to go out and talk to other women. I feel like I got this woman, maybe more, maybe more, maybe more. It was just never ending. And
Yeah.
I remember being in a relationship, it was a little toxic. And after that, when it ended, I was like, oh, not little, actually. It was very toxic. That's another story altogether. I had to change that because it wasn't a little, it was insane. Straight out of horror movie. Not even kidding. We'll get into that some other day when we meet. This whole thing was like, okay, wow. It opened my eyes to, I'm like, okay, no, there's something going on within me or someone else, and I need to figure that out, what that is. Like, I saw this darkness that changed my perspective towards the inner work. And then in another relationship that I got into, which was very healthy relationship for me. So I felt like, I could actually do more of the work. So I did that, a little bit of inner child healing, a little bit of shadow work or whatever, how everybody does. So finally, I was working in a corporate company and I hated it. I hated it. I was like, I don't like the people I'm working with. These guys are not the kind of people I want to be around. I didn't like the management. I didn't like the amount of money they were paying me. So I was like, dude, this is insane. Like, I'm giving my life to these fuckers and I am not appreciated. I don't like doing what I'm doing right now. I don't resonate with that. And then eventually, it was out of the blue. I was in the mountains in India learning music production, which I always wanted to do since last few years, as far as I could remember. And finally, I could afford it, but I hated the job that was paying for it. So I get an email from the coaches that really helped me in my journey with the whole confidence, inner work, and all that. And the email said, "Hey, we are hiring." I'm like, wow, I want to do this. This is exactly what I've been doing from last 5 years. I want to do this. I jumped on the interview call. There were 4 levels of interview, cleared it, finally joined the team. I didn't even resign from the company I was working with. I just told them, hey, I'm sick. My doctor said I can't work. Bye. That's it. I am sick. I'm fucked. I can't do this. I'm sorry. And then they were like, okay, return the laptop. I'm like, sure, sure, sure. Here's the laptop. Here's what I am. And then I returned the laptop, joined the company, and just began my journey with the coaching company as an appointment setter. And while I was working here for 1.5 year, 2 years, things were going fine. Um, then I met my girlfriend, and then all of a sudden, what happens in one of those calls? One guy says, "Hey, why don't you coach me?" He was from India, and I was like, "Yeah, I can't do that." But eventually, what happened is that I liked the whole idea. I was like, I do like helping people. I do like telling them what to do sometimes, but at the same time, that isn't coaching. That's just giving an advice. So I actually thought about it and I was like, hey, why not? I reached out to some people and I was like, hey, look, I want to start coaching. So why don't you guys just jump on a free call with me and do it? And I loved it. I loved it. I was like, okay, this is insane. So I reached out to my team. I told them, hey, listen, I would love to be a coach. I don't want to be closing and all. I know I wanted to be there, but I want to coach. So they gave me a coaching program. I did like run a group coaching for changing people's social skills and how do they have like a social circle whenever they are traveling, especially for nomads, right? When you're traveling, when you have a remote job, how do you make friends when you go in a different country if you don't have social skills? So I was teaching that. and it really helped a lot of people. But eventually it fell off because we didn't have enough clients, and then I was like, hey guys, I'm doing this on my own. Started putting out more content related to coaching, got some clients, started coaching them, did some boot camps, did two boot camps actually, which went insane. The guys that came on the first day, they were so afraid, small, but by the end they were like booming with personality, and they're talking to people. That was insane for me to see. Like within 5 days the transformation was insane. And since then I've been just doing it and trying to get people to see their own potential.
Absolutely, man. It's such an incredible journey, right? Something that I found really, really interesting was your tagline. So I'd love to hear just a little bit about the process that comes with it. But how do you turn pain into power?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I mean, the thing is that a lot of times pain, right? Pain in our life is something that we look at and we want to avoid it.
Yeah.
And most of the time we want to avoid pain and we want to seek pleasure. We will eat the burger rather than eating the veggies. We will sleep in rather than going to the gym. We would avoid a difficult conversation rather than actually bringing up that difficult conversation and saying, I am uncomfortable, and admitting it. But when you actually use that pain as this light, which is showing you in the darkness, like, hey, this is what you're not seeing right now, look at it, because that pain is there for a reason. You are feeling that pain, whatever that may be, discomfort, anxiety, guilt, shame, sadness, could be anything. You're feeling that for a fucking reason. And if you're not going to look into it and you just want to avoid it, then you're never going to reach to the actual core problem, what's causing it. That's why my whole tagline is pain, turn the pain into the power. Because use that pain as a fuel to propel you into action. Otherwise, it's just going to be, I'm pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. And you're a victim. You never come out of the victimhood. You just remain there.
And I think there's so much truth in that, especially coming from a Western society where there's so much like depression and anxiety are so prevalent. And in the US, a lot of times it's just medicated away and we're just told like, oh, you're just depressed. Oh, it's something wrong with your brain chemistry. But it's like, man, if you've been that depressed for years and your lifestyle is not changing, do you think that you need to take some pills, or is it time for you to face this pain and listen to these messages of something's not right instead of going, there's something that's not right. It's me, I'm the problem. Like you're so close.
You're
You're
right.
so close. You're so close. But it's almost that victim mindset of, oh, there's something wrong with me. And it's like, there's something wrong with the way that you're behaving. There's
Yeah.
something wrong with the life that you're building. There's something wrong. There's a mismatch between your behavior and the outcome of your desires. And you're not recognizing that, man. So much truth and resonance of that, of just like if you're depressed or there's guilt or there's shame, that pain, absolutely, it's just an indicator.
Yeah.
And when you're shying away from the pain, when you're shying away from the indicators, you're going to sit there with it forever. What's
True.
more uncomfortable, the pain of the change or the pain of staying the same, right?
Well, what you just said, that totally resonates with me because when I actually started approaching people randomly, and I wasn't just approaching girls, I was approaching everybody because for me, the whole idea was not to just get girls and get good at my dating life, but it was like, I don't want to be afraid of people. And I don't want to be alone anymore. I don't like being lonely. I hate it. I hated it. So the whole idea was that even if I get rejected, that is nothing compared to the years of loneliness that I have been in. I don't want to be there anymore. I will keep going, keep getting rejected. I don't care as long as I'm moving, as long as I'm just going somewhere rather than just being at one place saying, people don't like me. I must be the problem. There is something wrong with me. The world is just bad. No, I was like, I don't care, man. The world isn't bad. I am not bad. It's just that my approach might be bad. I need to change my approach because it's definitely working for all these people. So I got to figure out what works for me. And that's where I just kept trying different things and just seeing, like, okay, I'm not giving up on this. No way I'm giving up.
Tell me more about that decision to change the approach. What was the entire catalyst there? How did that go from beginning to end?
So the decision to change, first thing was like, interestingly enough, like I started, like I had to become an adult at a very young age because my parents couldn't take care of themselves properly and me. So I had to become the adult. And at a very young age, like around 14 or 15, I had to start taking care of them financially. They had like a studio and a shop. So I learned Photoshop editing and all, and like photography a little bit, so that I could sit at the shop while my dad could go home, rest, or while my mom could, cook food or do other things. So my routine was coming back from school, which I hated, because who would love it when you're being bullied in school, right? Who would love it when you're being ostracized? And then you come back home thinking that, hey, I'm going to have fun. But then you're like, oh, you have this work, this work, this work. There are these customers that you need to take care of. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. At first, I enjoyed it because I felt like I am important. While I was doing that, one thing I realized after like 1 or 2 years was that now it's not something I'm enjoying. It has become a responsibility that was something that was put on me. And when I would say I don't want to do it, I want to go out and play with my friends, well, I'd be shouted at, I'd be screamed at, or I'd be said like, "Where will the money come from? Where do you think this would happen? If you don't do this, who will do this?" I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" I didn't. I just learned things because I was curious. I wanted to explore, like, oh, video editing. Oh, nice. I want to learn this thing, right? And when that happened, I became even more alone because anytime I would have anyone come to me and they will like, "Hey, Eklavya, we are going out to play. Hey, Eklavya, we are here. Let's like we are here to meet you." Like it wasn't like that. There weren't friends. There weren't people that were trying to be friends with me. They were, but I would always be busy. I would always be doing some important stuff, like taking care of my family. So I never really had the time to be a child. And as I couldn't be a child, it was even more painful to see that why am I in this situation? Why aren't they in the same situation? Why am I the only one who has to do all this shit for my family? And out of that anger, I started looking around. I was like, I need to do something. I reached out to a guy who was very kind to me, and I was like, bro, I see that you have great communication skills. The way you tie things on Facebook, the way people are talking to you, I see them in comments, they respect you. Like, how do you do that? He sent me some book, and I read first book in my life. Like, okay, let's read this. Other than biology, chemistry, and that changed my perspective. I was like, okay, I'm just looking at myself as a victim. That's it. That's what's going on. Okay, let me see how I can change. I changed a little bit. Things changed for good just by reading one book because I started applying it as much as possible. I was desperate. I was like, I need something, man. I need something to feel alive. And that actually helped me see that I am an attractive person. There were girls who started showing interest, like, wow, you're cute, you're good. Other people were like interested in being friends with me. I was like, wow, what, just a little perspective change and that's it. Like I stopped whining about my problems and people like me. That's interesting. So that kept happening on multiple occasions when I moved to college. When I was in college, I was like, okay, I'm finally away from my parents. I can finally do things on my own, and I don't have to work to support them. So let's try and figure out what to do. So I started taking massive action after a year, actually, because first year I didn't do anything. First year I just would go out, stare at people's faces, and see, I must approach, must approach. Never didn't do
Yeah.
jack shit. Just roamed around a circle, roamed around, just stayed there, eating something, looking down, not even wondering, like, okay, nope, nope, don't see me, because it was a new city and people were really good at communication there. So that scared the fuck out of me. So for 1 year at least, I didn't do it. But once again, the pain of loneliness, it became more. Pain of staying the same became much more than pain of change. So the pain of change was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody's gonna say no to me, they're just gonna walk away. Does that mean I'm rejected? Not really. They just don't know me. I haven't given them an opportunity to know me. And that's when I started taking massive action. Like I would go out over the weekend, I'll approach like 50 people in a day or something. 10 people, 20 people, like if I had a good interaction. And by the end, like by the seventh rejection, eighth one was like, oh, hi, man, what's up? What are you
Yeah.
doing? And then they will be like, oh, hi, da da da. And I'm like, oh, cool. Then what are you doing here? What's your name? And just get to know them. And then we have, I'm like, do you want to go get some food? And then we'll get some food. We'll have like this small date session or whatever. And then I'd leave. And that was pretty interesting because I was like, oh, wow, I'm capable of doing this. Because after the seventh rejection, I was just like, who cares? Let's just go. It's like, and
Yeah.
I have actually gone up to people. I'm like, hi, I'm here to get rejected. What's your name? Like I came up with all kinds of fun interaction ways. Like I remember seeing these seven girls and I was like, rejection begins. And I went up to first girl. I'm like, hey, you're cute. And she's like, no. I'm like, what about you? No. I'm like, what about you? I literally just went up to duck, 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 all the seven. I'm like, and then I did this and I'm like, seven rejections. Now I'm undefeated. Let's go. And then immediately, right in front of them, someone was passing. I'm like, hey, hi, come here. And then I'm talking to her, and she's smiling. I'm like, hey, it worked. So no shame. Basically, at that point, I had no shame. I was like, I'm done. It's good.
Yeah. Man, my a piece of my own story. I used to be, and to some degree, I probably still am rejection sensitive, but it used to be a really major problem for me. So an idea that I had come up with was I'm going to go out and get 100 rejections. I'm going to go ask for girls' numbers until 100 of them reject me. So it doesn't matter how many say yes. We're aiming for 100 rejections. And
Rejections.
I can tell you that by the end of number 100, you are a fuck of a lot less sensitive because the problem is that you just haven't gone through it. You've made it so much worse in your mind than it actually is, and you just haven't processed that emotion before, so you're not used to processing it. So the first one, first of all, it's not as bad as you think. Second of all, it does suck. By the 10th one, especially in one day, it's a lot better. By the time it's 100, I have done this 100 times. It's not that big of a deal. It's just that lack of experience, right?
Yeah, true, true. The first wins, those ones are not like I still remember, like I haven't forgotten that my first ever uh, win, like I was able to get into a club with someone. I was like, whoa, I've never gotten in a club. I've never been to a club
Whoa.
before. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
this girl actually got me into a club and she's smiling. I mean, she left, but eventually I was like, I'm dancing in like in a group or in the club, and I'm like, this is what the fuck? This is what club looks like. This is what people do here. They dance on the music, loud music. What? They're drinking. Oh my god! Because my state was a dry state, so and I didn't drink alcohol up until then. So it was just like a surprise to me. I'm looking at these people, new culture for me, and I'm like, oh my god, everybody's drinking, everybody's loud, everybody's dancing. They don't even care that they suck at dancing. They all sucked, okay? They were not good at dancing. They sucked ass.
Right.
And I was like, what the hell? They suck and still they're just doing this? I'm like, how is that even possible? Making weird faces. I'm like, okay, I must do it too. I closed my eyes. I'm gonna do the most awkward thing. I'm gonna dance like a fucking retard. And I started just dancing like whatever. I'm like, I don't know how to dance, and I'm just gonna do this. And then eventually, one girl comes up to me, I'm like, taps me on my shoulder. I look back. I'm like, whoa, she's cute. And she's like, hey, are you a drummer? I'm like, not really, but I'm a singer. What's up? And my voice changed. I don't know what happened. Like some switch happened in my mind. And she says, are you a drummer? I'm like, no, not really, but I'm a singer. I can sing songs. What's your name? This late DJ FM voice, very close. And she's like, whoa, dude, can you sing for me? I'm like, not right now, but maybe later on, find me later.
Yep.
And the next thing I know, we're dancing and she kisses me. I was like, what? I still have that picture. I
Whoa.
still have that picture with me. I'm hugging her. Her face is here. Like you can't see her face, but my face is like satisfaction is like I don't know how the cameraman just saw it and he clicked the picture at that moment. And I was like, this is going to be my profile picture for 2 years at least. And it was
Yeah.
at least for 2 years. I didn't change it. I was like, this is interesting for me because the first wins proved to me that, oh, I am not that unattractive. I am not that unwanted. It's just that in my head, I've made it much more worse. People actually find me interesting.
Man, it's so crazy. I mean, just for the audience sake, right? Like you and I have not hung out much before. We met briefly in passing and went to one of your meditation events, and then we've texted just a little bit of like, yeah, man, we should get you on the podcast sometime, right? End of list. And we're from opposite sides of the planet, right? But I grew up in a really small town, really, really, really small town. Like by American standards, we refer to it as a zero stoplight town because there's not a single fucking stoplight there, which references the fact that that is a population of less than 1,000,
No
right? Like
way.
my
Really?
graduating class was 19 people, bro. Like it
Oh,
was
wow.
small,
Wow.
right?
What was it like?
And
I'm curious, like how was it for you when you were growing up?
bro, so here's the main point is that when you're in a town that small and you're ostracized by your peers, there is nowhere for you to go. There is no one else in that town for you to hang out with. If you ain't got friends in your class, you ain't gonna have friends because there is nobody else in that town for you to go talk to. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So North Dakota as a whole, where I'm from, is a landmass similar in size to Cambodia for comparison,
mm-hmm.
and it's 750,000 people in the entire state. So I mean, the majority, like, there ain't shit there, bro. There's nothing there. And most of the people that I hung out with didn't become until I was like a teenager and could drive to the next city where there was actually people. But
Mm,
getting out of that and moving out of the state at age like 18, 19, 18 turning 19, moving to Virginia, and just
mm,
like being thrust into a new environment where, all right, I need to behave differently, and actually getting out there and like, oh, holy shit, I can make, wow, people think I'm cool. People don't just dislike me for
yeah,
being me. I can make friends, and then I would go to like house parties, which I had gone to house parties where I was from, but it just wasn't the same, right? Versus
yeah,
here, it's like, oh, people think that I'm interesting. People think that I have a cool background. Like, oh, I've never experienced this before.
yeah.
Totally different, man. I want to circle back really, really quick. What was the name of the book that started you on your journey?
Tao of badass.
Say that one more time.
Tao of badass. Tao Te Ching, but
Yep.
Tao of badass. Like how to become a badass.
I'm gonna add that to my reading list really quick, bro.
It's a very quite honestly it was just a I mean now that if you read it now with the information I have with the knowledge and experience I have it would seem like a kid play as I was like what the fuck, what is this book talking about? So it was interesting though for 18-year-old Eklavya or 7 I don't remember exactly how old was I at that time, 17, 16, sometime around that.
Yeah.
It was very interesting read. I was like, wow, this is a very new information. Like being in India, for me, I outright rejected it at first. I was like,
Yeah.
no fucking way this is possible. I can't be just going to people's face and just telling them whatever I mean. What do you mean by that? Like I just go up to someone and say like I don't like you. How is that possible? Like what the hell? Like he's asking me to tell a girl that I don't know if I like you right now. Shouldn't I be telling her like you're so pretty, I like you, I love you, or my friend that oh my god, dude, you are so cool, rather than telling him like bro, this is bullshit. I don't like what
Yeah.
you're doing right now. Like being honest, basically. I'm like he's asking me to be honest. What are you talking about?
What do
Honesty?
you mean?
What do you mean? I have to be authentic? No way. And at first I rejected it. I read the book and I'm telling my friend, like, bro, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Is this even real? He's like, well, it's up to you. Do you want to follow? Not want to follow. What do you want to believe in? And that's when also another thing clicked in my mind, like, okay, whatever I know hasn't really worked for me. So might as well try this. Initially, it was very weird because when I started being like that, some people were obviously they were like surprised and they were like, "What?" But also it made me realize that okay, I've been playing it small up until now. I'm the one who's keeping myself small. There's not, and that's very interesting. When you are playing it small, other people will try to keep you there. They are going to try to keep you there just because they want to feel better about themselves and they have no other means to feel better about themselves.
Absolutely, man. And I think that people who have benefited from you staying in a current state, when you start to change, you're going to get some pushback,
A
right?
lot.
And
Yeah.
for me, the book that started everything is also no longer the book that I recommend to people. In certain cases, it is. And for me, it was exactly the book that I needed at that phase in my life. It's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Mark
Ah,
Manson,
Mark Manson,
classic. Yeah, yeah,
classic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, if you're listening, you're going to be on this podcast one day. That's
Someday.
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
He is part of the reason that I started this podcast. Man, the year that I read that, like I'm a bit of a campaigner, I got 20 people to read that book. I was like, this shit changed my life,
Life.
man.
Yeah.
And it genuinely it did because it was like I had been emotionally intelligent my whole life, but there was just
Hmm.
different levels of introspection that unlocked different levels of like the chapter on radical accountability, I can still pretty much quote you from memory. And I, to this day, still quote that book. But that said, it's not the book that I recommend to everyone. It's not like, if that's the space that you're in, absolutely, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And like, the book actually, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, is pretty interesting. Like what he's asking, I mean, of course, it's a title grab. Like you see it and you're like, oh, what the hell is that? But what he's talking about is very interesting in a way as well. Like, okay, why are you giving too many fucks to people? Like
Yeah.
it's just, and it's a subtle art, right? It's not like straight in your face because some people they take it like authenticity in a way or honesty in a way to be rude to people. Honesty doesn't mean you have to be rude to people. Honesty doesn't mean like you are just being honest about every little thing. That means you don't have social intelligence. You're just an
Yeah.
asshole. You can't go up to someone and just be like, dude, your hair sucks. No, that's not honesty. That's you being an asshole. And people do that quite a lot especially I've noticed this, like not to pick on someone, but in the spiritual community, they do it a lot. Like they become this higher self person all the time. And they are like my higher vibration in a way where they wanna not be hanging out with the lower vibration people. And you are just not talking about the same things that I am. And I'm like, yeah, that you can subtly tell people that you're not interested rather than using all this knowledge to put yourself up there and think that these people don't know anything. I have reached my higher self by attaining this Kundalini practice and just going up in my fucking crown chakra. No, dude, I do all that too, but just keep it to yourself. don't,
Chill the fuck
don't,
out.
don't try to, because everyone else is on their own journey. You can't be someone to bring them out if they don't want to bring them out of there. As simple as that.
Yeah.
If they like their misery, let them stay with their misery because it's serving them. There is no way you can be someone who can just pull them out of it because, hey, they're going to have a shock. They'll be shocked, and you don't want that. They might even go into psychosis. So let's not do that.
Yeah. I think that this comes from How to Win Friends and Influence People, but if not, it's from one of those super early like self-development books.
Hmm.
But everyone on this planet is your superior in some way. And trying to live by that and just humble myself, especially when I notice that I'm feeling like superior to someone, that person knows more about something than I do. period. That
Mm,
person is smarter than me in some way. That person can exceed me in some skill, period. Every single person on this planet is your superior in some way, especially if you're a person who gets that spiritual ego. Like, A, you're probably not in my circle, but B, understand that although you may be superior in that way, that's absolutely fine. But that person knows more than you in something, man, and they're still a person. So it's okay that you don't want to have space for them in your life. However, that doesn't mean that you need to be rude or that you need to weaponize your spirituality.
there, exactly, exactly. I mean, weaponizing the knowledge is very common in a lot of people who are using that as a way to fuel their ego. I did that too in the beginning. I remember that when I was learning the whole pickup thing, I was like, I know it more than you guys. You guys don't know how to read social behaviors. Ha 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 ha. I'm superior than you. With the whole thing with me realizing that, okay, the problem is still me. And it was a whole cycle, like first becoming that guy, and then I was like, okay, wait a second. I don't resonate with this. I don't like putting down people. I've been put down for most of my life. I don't want to do that to other people. Like, this guy probably is hurting from inside. That's why he's doing this. That's why he's making fun of me. And that changed my whole perspective. Now, when somebody comes and makes fun of me, my reaction is, what's wrong, bro? What's going on with you? And immediately the change in mood, they change. They're like, hey, listen, I don't mean to be rude to you, but you know, this. And I was like, I see. So it's not that we have a beef, it's that you are feeling this way. And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, glad we got that out. So then you bring out that actual emotion, like what's going on? Why are you feeling like, you know, you need to put me down? Is there something wrong? Like, what's happening to you? Treat them with compassion, treat them with kindness rather than treating them with the lens that they don't know it better than you do.
It really just goes to show as well, nothing is personal. Nothing is personal. Anytime that somebody is treating you sideways, that's 100% about them and nothing to do with you, right? And at the end of the day, if you want to get your feelings hurt over it, okay, do it. But there's the opportunity to humble yourself and go, hey, maybe that person's having a bad day. Hey, maybe that person's had issues with somebody like me before. And it's neither here nor there. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the person to step in and help them heal, but you do have the opportunity to interject in your own feelings and go, is this important right now? Does this matter right now? Right?
Mm, yeah.
So I'm really curious, what part of yourself did you fight for the longest? What part of yourself did you fight for the longest before you finally accepted it?
That's a very good question. I think the part of myself that kept saying that I'm not good enough, that's why I don't deserve to do this. And when I finally accepted, hey, maybe I'm not good enough, and that's okay. What is good enough anyway? So finally, that came to a point where I was like, wherever I am right now, that's okay. I might not have the best results, but that's okay. I'm way ahead of where I was. So the biggest part was this, like, I'm not good enough. So it was always me comparing myself to other people and what they were doing rather than seeing what I was doing. And when I started looking at myself and looking at, like, okay, what have I done up until now, it really helped me to understand that, okay, be kinder to myself and just be like, okay, I accept this part of me. I accept that I've had it hard. I accept that there were things that weren't really the best situation, but I accept it. And it's okay that I might not be there right now, but maybe eventually. And another part of me which I've had to, like, I kept fighting and I still do up till this point sometimes when it comes up is, why are you not there right now? Why do you not have all this money? Why do you not have this best physique? Why are you not doing 10 different things each day, filling up your calendar each minute to be productive? Why are you resting and watching anime, dude? I was like, okay, okay, like, you know what, dude, it's okay, relax, it's all right. You don't have to be productive all the time. It's just a coping mechanism that you've learned all this while because you weren't really feeling safe. So yeah, it still comes up, and it's a whole process, right? It's a process. So you continue doing that for the rest of your life.
I think so many people can resonate with that feeling of just not being good enough, right? I know the way that I would run somebody through that, but let's switch this around. Let's say that I'm one of your clients and I'm struggling with this feeling of I'm not good enough. What's a process that you would walk them through?
Yeah. If somebody says that they are not good enough, the first thing that I would ask them is like, what is it that makes you feel you're not good enough? Why do you feel you're not good enough? And usually they come up with something abstract, like, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have, like, or then you would go even deeper than that. And then you are like, okay, where does this idea come from? When did you first start believing it? And most of the time, it's from when they were a child. Something happened to them, the parents did something. Usually, the parents did something. Like, my mother did this or my father did this. The narrative that usually goes in their head is that because I wasn't good enough, that's why my mother didn't love me. Because I wasn't good enough, that's what my father didn't really give me the emotional support that I really needed. And then bringing them back to the now, which is, okay, what would it take for you to be good enough right now? And then carving that for them, their story, the new narrative. Like, okay, if I do this, maybe I'll feel good enough. Maybe it could be just something simple as, I've been afraid of talking to people. Let's do that. Would just talking to people would make you feel good enough? Then yes, we'll do that. Not like, oh no, they must accept me. Then you're leaving it to them, not to yourself. So the whole process would go from going back to their childhood or going back to a time when this narrative got into their head that I am not good enough, and then changing it to like, okay, how can I be good enough? Or why am I good enough?
I think that it's a really interesting point as well, especially when you're talking about people who have accomplished a lot, but still end up feeling I'm not good enough, right? And it can show up in so many different ways, but at the end of the day, sometimes there are steps that need to be taken, like you're talking about, of like, I need to learn to talk to people, I need to learn to do this. But I think that even more than that, in anchoring it today, that feeling good enough comes from one thing, and that's learning to feel good enough. And if you've never taken the time and you've held on to that narrative your entire life, it's to go just one step further and one step deeper. It's
Mm-hmm.
the action of turning inward and saying, what do I actually need? And not from a perspective of accomplishments or outside validation or anything else, because it's all got to come from you. And for me, I kicked the can down the road and I will feel good enough when I have achieved this, when I have done that, when I have. And this was a while back, but it took a therapist taking me and going, listen, Sean, think about everything that you have ever accomplished. If feeling good enough came from doing one thing, wouldn't you have it by now? And at this point, my career in oil and gas was very successful from a very young age. I did bodybuilding. I did distance running. I had the girls. I had bought the things. I had the American dream, and I was miserable and had no self-worth. And it was
Yeah.
like, from the outside, you've already gone to the outside and grabbed it. So is that actually where it comes from, right?
Yeah. To that, my question would be, whose approval were you seeking growing up?
That's a great question that I still don't have the answer to because I have had the approval of both of my parents. And I think that, to be honest, I just became my own worst critic of any time that I accomplished anything. By the time I was nearing that accomplishment, I had set the bar higher for even more. Like, I need even more than whatever this benchmark is.
what you just said is very interesting because you had approval from both of your parents, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But what was the reason you were getting their approval? What did you have to do to get their approval?
right? I think also like for me, this stems a lot back down to my parents divorced when I was like two.
There you go.
And yeah, so it was, I was unable to hold the family together when I was way too young, right? And then like stepfathers in and out of the picture, and dad was present but distant. And it was, although I had the approval, I didn't have that consistent support that you actually need to build self-worth and the coping
Mm.
skills. Like I have done a lot of reparenting myself because although I had people in my life, I did not have the stable support and coping strategies built that you should get from a stable family home, right?
Yeah, I actually wrote a book about that quite recently. Yeah, it's called Father Hunger.
We're just going to plug right now. The link to that book is going to be in the comment section below.
Yeah, definitely. I still need to learn how to publish it though. It's still an ebook that is just lying in my computer. Haven't really put it out, but yeah, finished it though. Finished the book, my first ever book. So pretty happy. What you just mentioned, right? Like you had that father figure in your life, like you got the approval, but it wasn't consistent support. And for a kid, it can be really damaging for their self worth. When you need it, when you need the support, when you need the love, that's when you don't get it. It's not that like, oh, kid, I'm free right now, Sean, so let's give you love and approval. But you're like, yeah, yeah, great, it's fun. But what about that time when I needed it? I didn't have that, so I was unsafe. You left me alone. I was not safe. And out of that, you would do things to feel safe. You would be like, okay, what are other people doing? Let's see. This guy is a jock. Okay, he's working out. This guy has girls. Okay, this person has a lot of friends. This person is being a joker. So I'm going to try all these things to see how I can get that approval because it feels so good when you have that approval as a kid. So you
Yeah.
try to do it as much as possible. And we run with that narrative for the time as long as some tragic happens and boom, and you're like, okay, it was a lie.
Yep.
Because the moment that approval is taken away, what are you? Who are you?
It's just a hard candy shell on an M&M, right? And it does not take much to crack that. Where do you think that the belief of I'm not good enough for most men starts?
The biggest one I would say is not having a father figure in their life. And when I say not having a father figure in their life, what I mean is that even if your father is there physically, he might not be emotionally and mentally there in your life. Because for men, we've always looked up to other men to see, and for women, the same thing. The girls would look at their mothers to see how can I become into a woman. For us, the model would be the father. And as that father figure is usually we will see like whatever behaviors they have, like if we see them as a heroes, because we do usually when we are growing up we see them as heroes, we're like, oh my god, my dad can do anything, he's a superman. And when you see that Superman being a human being at some point who has his own flaws, he's just sitting on his couch and drinking beer, maybe he's being angry at your mother, who's supposed to be caring and doting and loving. Then you see all these behaviors. Maybe he's being angry at you. Maybe he's just being like, kid, listen, I'm so tired. Don't bug me. Just get off. We'll talk later. And he never gives you that talk. He never gives you a hug. He never takes you out to some class or play ball with you or do things with you, like for an ice cream. Maybe he never treats you right. And you see all that happening in your life growing up. Even if your father, let's say he's a successful businessman, and you see him being a successful businessman, now what happens is you feel like, okay, that's great, money is there, he's success, everybody respects him. But what you still don't get from his is the fatherly love you're looking for, is that tribal leadership. That, kid, as much as I am a businessman outside, I am still your father. So let me teach you how to actually use this spear. And by spear, I really mean just a symbolic meaning of how do you become a man. How do you actually become someone who's dependable? How do you become someone who has a drive in life, but for good reasons? How do you become someone who can care and love with an open heart and at the same time be very grounded in his emotions? Be very grounded in being vulnerable. Because if you're not being vulnerable in front of other men, what you're doing is you are being this shell of a person who's not allowing other men to feel what they want to feel. And that's why all the suicide rates, dude. Men are not able to open up. Men are not able to be emotional and cry in front of their bros. Like, what the hell? You should be able to cry in front of your bros. Why is he your bro when you can't even cry when your mother died or your girlfriend left you or you lost a lot of money or something tragic happened? Like, you should be able to cry. And I feel that most of us, we lack that parental figure. We lack that father figure, men, especially men. And when we grow up, we start looking for that father figure in mentors, in Andrew Tate. And then you see, like, Andrew Tate is my father. Holy shit, he's the father. And then you're like, I'm going to do all kinds of fucked up shit because the world owes me. And because you have anger. You have all this anger. Where is it going to go? It's going to go somewhere.
I think that moves us into a really interesting next point. What do insecure men mistake as confidence?
First would be um, I have a lot of money. That gives me confidence. I've
Yeah.
met so many men who have a lot of money and they can't really hold eye contact with me. Another thing would be if you are being overtly loud, you're confident. You're not. A lot of the times, the confidence actually comes in if someone can be really slow in the way they're talking. If they can just be like, I can hold my ground, I can talk to you and still keep your interest in what I'm about to say. Because if I'm just like, yap, 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 I'm doing, that's not confidence. You're insecure. The other thing would be looks. If I have looks, I have confidence. No, you don't. You just have a body which is going to decay over time. And that's not confidence. That's just your engine that's going to keep you running for the rest of your life. But people are not going to be coming to you because you have a great face, bro. I like your face. At one point, you're going to get bored of your face and they're like, okay, okay, do you have interesting topics maybe that we can talk about?
A real wake-up call for me was like I had gone to the gym for many years before I actually hired a personal trainer and got into bodybuilding. And getting into the gym culture and starting to get to know some of the guys in there of like when you first get in there, you start lifting, whatever, and you see like the most jacked guys in the gym. And it fucked me up to learn how twisted some of those guys were. Not all of them, some of them had very good relationships with themselves and just were very dedicated. But some of them just had entire, like the worst body dysmorphia I've ever seen of like guys talking about how fat they are when they're obviously less than 15% body fat and are on insane schedules and they're just like absolutely massive. And they're thinking that they're smaller than me because they've got bad dysmorphia. Like it's
It's really sad. And it is very interesting. Like when I've gone to the gym and I was working out and I saw the guys who were there, um, because my habit was just talking to everybody. So I remember like meeting some guys who were like big and they are working out all the time. And I was like, dude, every time I come here, you are in the gym. He's like, yeah, I am in the gym like 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm like, 3, 4 hours a day? What are you doing here? He's like, I mean,
you live here?
where would I go? I after this I go for my job. I'm like, and then what do you do after you come back from job? Oh, I go sit in a car with my friends who are still awake around like 4 a.m. and then we smoke shisha. Really? That's it? It's like, yeah, fun. I'm like, okay. Why are you working out? It's like, dude, I will be big. People are gonna respect me. I'm like, yeah, I don't respect you right now, to be honest. I just lost respect because you told me that. And I had to tell him like, hey, he's showing me someone that he wanted to talk to. I was like, just go and talk to her. Why not? It's like, ah, no, 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 no. Let me just build a little bit more muscles in 2 to 3 months, and then I'm like, what do you think gonna happen? She's gonna look at you and just be like, oh my god, look at your muscles. Oof, the biceps is 52 inches. I love you. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. You're expecting that in your head. You're like, 52 inches. Yes, properly. It's like, dude, that not your size. Size doesn't matter. It's how you
Man,
use it.
I'm here to tell you that as a guy who struggled with insecurity, that everything that as an insecure man that I was told would get me women, especially by insecure men, only got more men to talk to me. Period. Say- The only thing that has actually gotten more women to talk to me is talking to more women.
Yep, exactly.
Point
Exactly.
blank, period.
Yeah.
But like, I used to have a Ford Raptor pickup, and so many guys were like, "Oh, I bet that gets you so many girls." And all it ever got me was guys going,
Guys.
"Oh, I bet that gets you so
So
many
many
girls."
girls. Yeah.
So many girls. And when I got to 215 pounds, which is about 95 kilos. I was bulked and I was lean at the same time.
Oh,
Like I was a
wow.
big dude. Like I'm not right now. I am like 165, like 75 kilos. Like
I want to see that
whole
picture for sure. Like
dude, I have it on my phone. I will send it to you when we get
95.
done.
Holy shit, that's insane. Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, and it was like I got more dudes talking to me in the gym going, "Dude, what are you doing? Like what's going?" And it's like eating lots of food, lifting lots of heavy weights. End of list. But as an insecure man, you're told, oh, if you get in shape, oh, if you do this, oh, if you do this, like if you have money, if you've got the truck, if you've got the motorcycle, if you go work out, and it's like the thing that gets you girls is talking to girls and being authentic and being a real person and doing those things. Although the girls that were already with me became more interested, like my partner really loved my body type back then. The girls that I were going on dates with already were like, oh, wow, you have a great truck, but none of them were like, "Oh, wow, because you have this truck, I'm going to talk to you. Because you have this physique, I'm going to talk to you." It's just
No,
not it, man.
no. They see you, in a way, see, it might work for some people because they see it as, oh, you have a body, that's why this guy got it. He has looks. Okay, these things do play to some degree, but that's not it. It's usually because what it allows you to do. Like you get the truck, and all of a sudden you feel so powerful. You're like, fuck yeah, I got this truck now. So now you're gonna move with that confidence in the world because you have a huge truck. It's the BDE, the big dick energy. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, you
Yep.
have a extension, you have a penis extension now, which you're gonna move with all the fucking time in the world. Same thing with working out. When you're working out, as the muscles are growing bigger, you're thinking your penis is growing bigger. And psychologically, that's like the phallus, which we call, and the phallus is growing bigger, and you're feeling like, oh, I have the power now. I finally have the power now. And you might talk to them with that confidence initially, but eventually, what would happen is that, I'm sorry, dude, it's gonna go down. That phallus is not gonna stay up all the time because you are relying on something external. And when that power, that like, let's say, minuscule amount of power that it gives you, almost like popping a Viagra, it's gonna go down. And when it does go down, you're gonna crash. You're gonna feel violated. You're gonna feel betrayed by the world. Like, I was lied to. And that's the worst place to be in.
Like you were talking about, confidence is quiet, right? You don't need to be loud, and all of those things are very loud. And when it comes down to it, if you're getting these accomplishments coming from an insecure place, that's just going to reaffirm the insecurity in your mind because you've just said that I was not good enough until I achieved this thing. So achieving that thing is reaffirming to yourself further that I am still not good enough, even though I have the accomplishment.
Yeah.
So that circles it all the way back around to the only thing that makes you learn to feel good enough is learning to feel good enough. You can set benchmarks and create goals and accomplishments along the way, that will help you step into feeling that. But it comes more from the mental shift of I am already enough. I don't need to achieve that. I am already there. And really stepping into that self-empowerment as it is and from a really pure place. That's what allows you to feel good enough. And from that standpoint, then you are allowed to achieve those accomplishments at a much deeper level than if you come at them from a place of insecurity.
True. True.
Why do you think that so many men struggle with the emotional numbness?
You, one of the biggest reason is they've never learned how to show their emotions. They are told if you show your emotions, you're a girl, which is almost like an insult in the men's world, right? You are gay, you are a sissy, or all those words that come up. And unfortunately for the men, when most probably when they were growing up and they tried to show their emotions and they were shut down. Like people ignored them, people called them names. Their friends were like, "Ha ha ha, are you a fucking girl, bro? Why are you crying like a girl?" Or maybe
Yeah.
their parents were like, "No, don't do this. This is bad. Boys don't cry." And all these things, all these terms, and it's like you see them, your friends behaving in a certain way. You grow up to believe that, okay, men don't show emotions, but then there are these other group of men who show their emotions just to manipulate you, who use vulnerability as a way to manipulate you into feeling sorry for them. And that's even more pathetic, to be honest, because then you are not, what you're doing is you are discounting any other man who's not able to show their emotions and they are really going through something. They're suffering. They might be depressed. They might be feeling that they have to share something with the world, but they're not able to because they might not be accepted for what they are going to say. And most of the time, these men, they are not looking, they are numb because it's better to just numb these emotions than feel them and not have them accepted for what they are,
Yeah.
because they would get an advice most of the time. They'd be like, "Oh, you're feeling sad, bro. Why don't you just go out and drink beer? Why don't you just go out and get women or get all the money? It will help you. Go off for a vacation." No, maybe I just want to be sad right now. Can you just be here? Allow me this space to be sad. Don't tell me anything. Just be here and just be like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm listening."
Most men are ashamed of that actually deserves compassion.
I mean, that one's a little big one, to be honest. Like, because I've had different shame. I'll speak from my perspective. Like, I've had shame of what I went through as a kid, or the shame of not having enough money in my family. So, coming from a poor background, that was a big source of shame for me. Another source of shame for me was the way I looked, like how I looked, whether my hair was different or like how feminine I was in a way. So that was a big source of shame. Then there would be sexual shame, something that might have happened to them, maybe sexual abuse, maybe something traumatic that they're not able to share. Shame of expression, like I can't express myself. I have to be small. It would be the shame of, because shame in a way is like I am bad. It's not that I did something bad, but I am bad. And it could be because of many given reasons, like I am bad because I can't talk to people. So shame of being socially anxious, which is very interesting that if you have shame of being socially anxious, you're not going to try and work on it because you have social anxiety or because you're socially anxious, you already feel you're so bad, rather than questioning it like, okay, wait a second, where does this idea come from that having this problem is bad and it can't be worked upon. Source of shame could be changing, it changes a lot in different men depending on what they've been through.
Absolutely, man. I think for all of us, like, we're all these special little snowflakes, but at the end of the day, we all have these same problems. Worldwide, globally, it all comes down to some of the same things. And it can come from a lot of different directions, but at the end of the day, somebody out there got the same problems as you. Somebody's been through it. we can all come together to really learn to help each other move through it, right?
Yeah, indeed. And just to add to that, like it is surprising sometimes when I get on those calls and people are like, "You don't know me." I'm like, "Of course I don't know you. You don't know my problem." Yeah, of course I don't know your problem, but I'm pretty sure that someone has been through something similar to what you're going through right now. And if you keep believing that I am so unique and my problem is very unique, I'm sorry, you're bullshitting yourself. Your problem is not unique. You think like in the history of mankind, nobody, literally nobody, has ever been through what you have gone through, what you are feeling. Because at the end of the day, whatever you have gone through, there are certain emotions only that you're gonna feel. It can't be some complex new emotion that is born out of nothingness. It's there.
Man, when you start getting into some of the ancient texts from like Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, any of them, when you start getting into the real raw ancient texts about living life, not how you should live your life, but about living life, the problems that they are speaking about are so resonant with what we are going through today, even stuff that was written thousands of years ago about mental busyness and our perception of the world and victim mindset and all the same shit. It is entirely unchanged. We got cell phones now. Ain't shit changed.
Human condition, right? Like at the end of the day, we are humans, and as far as we've been aware of our own consciousness, our own existence, we've been questioning things. And as we question things, you think like you won't question yourself. Like, what is wrong with me? Why is Caesar wearing such a great dress while I am wearing in this dirt cheap cloth? What, like, we've been there. Like, it's not the discrimination or the anger or anything hasn't just, it's not something that is for us right now in 21st century. It's been there for ages since we've been here on planet.
Absolutely, man. How do you build self-worth when you've never seen it modeled for you?
Very good question. I mean, that is the whole point of my coaching, to build the self worth, right? And
Yeah.
the first thing, what I usually try and understand for my clients is I want to see like what is obstructing them from having that self worth. Because at the end of the day, self worth is what? It's just like you feel that you have worth, you are worthy. And how do you
Yeah.
feel you are worthy? Well, it's another term for having some self-esteem, right? Like the value you have in yourself, the value you have towards the world. And it could be of many different models. Like I have value because I exist. And that is the point where I want to bring them to. Like I have value not because I have this or this or this or this. I have value because I exist. I am valuable. That's it. And to reach to that point, what we are trying to do is not add things but remove things. Like let's remove the layer of disgust, let's remove the layer of people pleasing, let's remove the layer of shame, the guilt, the whole idea that I need to do something to feel worthy. You do something because you are worthy, not because you need to feel worthy. You take action because you are worthy already. You live and talk to some people, get rejected, have friends because you are worthy, not because you're not worthy. So to reach to that point, you can take different roads. You can take the road of inner child healing. You could take the road of shadow work. You could take the work like road of psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, road of breath work, whatever that may look like for you. But at the end of the day, you have to come back home to yourself. At the end of the day, you have to recognize who you are, because there's going to be challenges. You're going to fail. But even in that failure, you're still you, right? And no one can take that away from you. You are still you.
I'm going to pull up a quote because this quote has just been popping up all over my whole life right now, and it just really ties into exactly this. Posted it to my Instagram yesterday. It's Rumi who says, "Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." And although self-love and self-worth are two things that coincide, they're entirely different. However, the path from one to the next is absolutely from one to the other. They coincide so well. And just like you're talking about, it really is. Why do you think that you're unworthy? What do you think is getting in the way of your worth? Why do you think that you're unlovable? And peeling back the layers of like, you can have people that have great amounts of self-love that still don't have that self-worth, that self-esteem, don't have that
Mm,
self-confidence. You can have people that have that self-confidence that don't have that self-love. And sometimes the two things come at the same time. Maybe a person just needs to walk the one path and they'll receive both. For some people, they're entirely separate. But either way, the path is more about finding and removing all of the barriers than it is about finding the love or the worth, because those things are already there inside you.
true, true. I mean, in the same way, what you just mentioned, some people have self worth, but they might not have the self love. I sometimes fail to do that for myself. Like, I might have the self worth that I know I'm worthy, so I'm not going to take anyone's shit, and I'm not going to be doing things that doesn't make me feel worthy, like hurting people or doing something that goes against my worthiness. But at the same time, I sometimes fail to recognize the self love that I have to give myself, like taking some time off work and actually giving that time to myself to enjoy the things that I enjoy, to have those moments where I'm just looking at the sky, where I'm not being too hard on myself for not working out, where I'm not being too hard on myself for not really going out and partying with my friends, but maybe taking that time off for myself and just being at home and not doing anything, because I don't have to be productive all the time or work all the time or make money all the time or go out socialize all the time to prove to myself that I'm worthy. There has to come a point where it has to be like, it's okay if I don't go out and talk to people. It's okay if I don't make the money right now. It's okay that I'm not working out. Maybe I'm focused on something else and I need to give that time to myself, that space to myself.
If somebody's really stuck, what would you tell them to help them start?
Depends on where exactly they are stuck, though. Like in what area of their life they are stuck. For example, if they are stuck in like, I don't have I've done all of this, like I've gone out, I've talked to a bunch of girls, I've had a great dating life, but I've never found a relationship and I'm stuck in finding like that relationship that I want. So for this person, I would suggest them to not really focus on the whole relationship aspect and going out and like volume. I'm not going to ask them to focus on volume. I'm going to ask them to focus on what they respect about somebody else and spending time with these people and seeing whether they fit into their life or not, rather than going out and seeking the relationship. Because when you're seeking the relationship, what you're going to get is disappointment. A lot of times you're going to get disappointed because most of the time you're going to go out seeking pleasure rather than an actual conversation and an actual meaningful connection with someone. If somebody says to me that, no matter how much money I've made, no matter how much workout I've done, or I still don't feel worthy, I don't feel like I'm good enough for having friends, for these people, my suggestion would be just go out, dude. Just go out and talk to them and just see what happens, what comes up. And when it comes up, those emotions, the negative things, the negative thoughts, let's note them down. Let's see what we can do with that. How do you provide that love to yourself for you to feel that this is okay right now? This is fine. As long as I'm here, it's okay. So you keep yourself stuck because you are afraid of actually moving forward. So for me, anybody that is stuck, just move. Just get out of bed. You can't get out of bed, just try and just roll on your bed like a sausage and just fall from your bed. That's it. And when you fall from your bed, it might hurt, but laugh. Because what the hell? Why are you rolling like a sausage? But fall. But
Yeah.
fall, make it fun, make it much more enjoyable in your life. Do things that that really brings joy in your life somehow. Joy is one of those emotions which is going to help you a lot to do things which doesn't want to keep you stuck.
Absolutely, man. It's about using that pain and turning it into power, right?
Exactly. So like the pain is gonna be there. There is no way you're gonna avoid pain. No freaking way you're gonna avoid pain. But I also love doing one thing, which is basically showing them what it could look like if they remain stuck for 5 or 10 more years.
Yeah.
And then painting that picture really like bleak, because it will be bleak. They
Yeah.
might say, oh no, it's going to be sad. I'm like, what is sad? Define that sadness. Where will that sadness come from? What are you doing day to day that makes you sad? And they're like, oh my God, I'm so alone. There are no friends. I'm just sitting at home. It's like, when you're sitting at home, what are you telling yourself? It's like, I'm a piece of shit. I'm like, exactly. You are a piece of shit. Aren't you feeling like that right now? It's like, yes. I was like, let's move then. It's like, fuck yeah, I need to move. So using that pain for them to move them right now, because they know that if they don't move, well, what's going to happen next? What's in the store for them?
Pain of the change has to outweigh the pain of staying the same, right?
Exactly. And that won't happen if I pat them on the back and they say like, "Oh no, don't worry, you're doing good." No, no, you're not doing good. You suck, bro. You
Yeah.
some people need that. They're like, "No, no, you suck right now. You have to get out of this, because if you don't, then." And for me, I come from a place of compassion. Like, it's not coming from a place of putting them down, but I'm like, no, dude, you need to recognize that this is not okay. You are suffering right now. And you have to recognize that this is suffering in a different way.
Especially when the outcome becomes worth it, right?
True. I mean, the outcome is, the whatever the outcome may be, the outcome is, interestingly enough, is just that you find who you are truly. That is the outcome. And when you do that, there is nothing that can beat that in comparison. I mean, there are days when, yesterday, as I said, I was looking at the sunset and I was crying. I was like happy, so happy, and I was crying. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. I'm looking at this sunset. I'm able to do this. Like, wow, I made it happen. I did this like 5 years ago. That wouldn't have been possible. Like, it was way not even in my imagination that I would be living the life that I'm living right now. Wasn't even in my, like, if someone had said, "Hey, imagine what the life could look like 5 years from," I'm like, "Ah, okay, I'm in India. I'm here. I maybe have a little more money. Maybe in a better flat." That's where the imagination ended. But as I realized, like, okay, let's just see like how I can live my life with the purpose that defines my life, and just go and do those things on daily basis as much as I could. Hey, I'm living my life, and then slowly things just start happening. Things, you you're presented with opportunities that you couldn't have seen before.
Thanks so much for coming on and talking to me today, bro. I appreciated this conversation, I think, more than you realize. For people who want to connect with you, what's the best place to do that?
Instagram would be perfect, because my YouTube is still in the making. So Instagram would be great. Eklavya with thumbs. EKLAVYAWITHTHUMBS. It's a longer one, but as you know the story now, so gotta keep that brand name Eklavya with thumbs.
There will be links in the comments section below.
Yeah. And thanks for having me and asking me these interesting questions, which brings me back to why I'm doing these things. And yeah, like, feel more energized to just go ahead and keep moving, man.
Love it, man. I love the momentum. Thanks so much for watching. I've got a free worksheet on how to stop overthinking. If you want to check that out, just click on my website below.